Baseball season is here at last, and the excitement continues all season long at DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitment. Why wait until the end of the season to claim victory when you can win huge cash every day? Hurry to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code PARDON to play for free. You could win part of the $300 million in prizes being awarded this season. Enter PARDON for free entry now at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It is tax day, Tony. You paid yours?
I'm Tony Kornheiser, please. Taxes are for losers. Losers
are all right. Being the tax pokey.
Yeah. No, I paid them in the 70s. It's been a while. But you know what? I applied for extension.
And are you on the lam now?
I just roll over the extension.
Rolling over,
like
all right.
2020, 2021, something like that. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Paul Pierce goes ham. No more bat flips for Yasiel Puig, and Wilbon critiques the Cleveland Browns' new uniform.
Hate them.
But we begin today with the verdict in the Aaron Hernandez case. After 7 days of deliberation, the jury returned all guilty verdicts, most notably guilty of first-degree murder, which carries with it in Massachusetts life imprisonment with no chance of parole. Wilbon, what was your reaction when you heard this verdict?
Just depressing, Tony. I felt depressed about this. I've avoided this trial. I have paid almost no attention to it. I am not invested in any way in Aaron Hernandez, sort of this notion that you have to pay attention because he's a sports celebrity. I reject that. I don't have any feel for him. But I just felt depressed for one reason, sort of a dual reason. He is now convicted of taking a young man's life, and he is a young man whose life is essentially over.
That's it.
And what is there? What other lesson is there to take from this?
I was not particularly surprised by the verdict, especially when I heard the defense concede that Aaron Hernandez was at the scene of the murder, and it didn't seem to me it was a stretch for a jury to come back, even without a murder weapon, which you usually demand some sort of physical proof. I don't know, I felt the same sort of distance from it that you did. I mean, I watched the coverage all day on ESPN, which is a sports network, and I understand why they did it, but it's not a sports story. It's a murder trial. If Aaron Hernandez had not been a tight end for the New England Patriots, this would have been like so many murder trials in America. Nobody would have cared about it except the immediate families. And so you always feel for the immediate families when you see the mother of Odin Lloyd.
His mom
you have
out
great
there.
sense of sympathy for her.
Sure.
And I agree with you that it's a waste of many lives.
It is.
Many lives.
Lives, and then there are going to be more trials because there are other charges.
It's a double murder
against him.
pending.
A double murder?
Yes.
Tony,
he'll never spend
so
a day
much in the way of
outside of jail.
resources, time, money, just energy, passion. It's sad.
There's a physical irony here that was pointed out that the maximum security prison where Aaron Hernandez will go
like
to.
2 miles
it's
away,
a
right?
mile and a half away from Gillette Stadium. So it's like so near and yet so far, and it's all on him. It's his hands.
It is. It's always awkward to transition from something so serious to sports, but we're going to attempt to do that. And we'll start, Tony, with a big-time ball night, the regular season finale in the NBA that will finally set up the playoffs, which begin Saturday. The last spot in each conference is up for grabs, and the numbers 2, 3, 5, and 6 seeds in the West will be determined finally. Half of tonight's 14 games have playoff consequences. But, Tony, which is the one you think will have the most dramatic impact on what might happen in the actual playoffs?
I'm going to discount the fight for 8th in the East because I don't think
there's a challenge there?
No, I really don't. I'm going to discount the fight for 8th in the West because one of those teams isn't ready to win big.
New Orleans.
And the other one is riddled by injury.
OKC.
Oklahoma City. I mean, I think that the team with most of its chips in the middle of the table is San Antonio. Because if San Antonio wins, they get the number 2 seed, which means they get a chance at a beatable team in Dallas, though it's an in-state rival. It's a beatable team, and they don't have to face Golden State in the second round.
That's right.
And if they were to lose tonight, and I don't know all the permutations of this, but if they were to lose, the West begins to tumble around like ping pong balls, and you just don't know.
Here's the thing you don't want to necessarily be in. If you're in 6th, Tony, the problem is not that the San Antonio Spurs can't beat anybody in their way. You got to beat everybody in your way
on the
for
road.
3 rounds.
On the road.
On the road.
Yeah,
with games 5 and potentially 7 on the road. Tony, I think the West is too difficult, even though I think San Antonio right now, if you ask me, okay, give me the Western Conference Finals, I'm going to tell you Golden State and San Antonio. But the other teams are too good.
You think Popovich's going to play his players tonight? Got an opportunity on the road to rest them, right? Think he's going to do that?
How about if he just tried out there and said, Duncan, Parker
Wouldn't that be
Ginobili
insane?
sit next
That
to
would be
me.
insane,
But they
wouldn't
might
it?
still win the game because they do this.
Yeah. My problem, as you know, is in the East. Two of the teams that are going to make the playoffs are under 500. This is
Boston and either Indy, Brooklyn, whichever.
This is not the NFL where they play 16 games. It's 82 games. At 82 games, if you're under 500, I don't think you should be in the playoffs.
So you want to go to the top 6 teams in the league.
Or
you want to go to that.
If you have to put them in, then I just don't think you should get home games. I mean,
Any home games?
One home game and then get out.
Talk about disincentive.
Paul Pierce, who is on his last legs in the NBA with the Washington Wizards this year, gave an interview to our friend Jackie McMullen in which he absolutely lit up former teammates Ray Allen and Darren Williams and questioned the commitment of the young guard combo of John Wall and Bradley Beal. Pierce said nobody liked Allen. He said Darren Williams didn't want to be an MVP caliber player, and he said Wall and Beal have to decide if they want to be just good or great. Wilbon, of all these things, which stands out to you?
First of all, let me just say, this is why I've loved just sitting around the locker room listening to Paul Pierce, because he said stuff. He's got a point of view. He and Kevin Garnett, I think that these guys are great to talk to because they say what's on their minds.
So you don't think there's a little bit of I'm all-knowing and I'm better than these guys and my way or the highway?
Remember,
a little bit of that?
Remember what he said about Ray Allen was, we were great on the court. And Ray Allen's one of my favorite athletes in any sport in the last 10 years. I like Ray Allen.
Well, you boys just
lit
him up.
They had a difference. What's of great interest to me, because the Darren Williams, New Jersey thing has moved on. That thing's done. Right. And Darren Williams, you love Darren Williams. And this other offensive insight for you.
Loved him in Utah.
I know.
Loved him.
Utah ain't New York.
Loved him in Illinois. Loved him in Utah.
Tony, Wall and Beal, who are here and now, and they are young players, I believe 23 and 21 years old, 22 years old. They got a chance to be great. And Paul Pierce is challenging them in a constructive way. He's saying, you're my teammates, we can do something here, but you guys got to bring it in a different way every night. That's instructive
Would
to
you
me.
be interested in their shooting last night in what was a big game?
Wait. I'm going to say 14 for 45.
It's 47, but you were close. Ding, ding, ding. 14 for 47.
Okay.
They each played like 45
in a big game, in a playoff-like game.
And they lost it.
Yeah.
Okay, in double overtime. They lost it. I'm interested in the Ray Allen stuff because Ray Allen's a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
And these guys were teammates, and they won a title together. And Paul Pierce said, basically, who needs this guy?
No, he didn't.
He did. He said, we used to
great on the court.
He said, we used to support his charitable causes.
Right. He
never supported ours. We used to ask him to dinner. He never showed up. Paul Pierce said he thought of the big three as him, Kevin Garnett, and Sam Cassell, not Ray Allen.
But they won, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they won big one year.
But what's instructive here is, so maybe you don't have to be the best of pals off the court field. You don't. You can win.
I think there was a little bit of self-congratulation by Paul Pierce. Just a little. Okay. Little.
Could be a sad day for fun-loving baseball fans, presuming there's some left. Yasiel Puig says he's going to stop flipping his bat upon hitting home runs. All right. Puig tells the LA Times he could flip the bat occasionally after a home run that's meaningful or emotional, something like that. But for the most part, he understands now in his third season, so many people in and around the game see this as disrespectful that for the most part, he's going to stop. Tone, is Puig doing the right thing?
I don't have a problem with him flipping the bat. To me, this is showmanship. I don't know that you have to listen to the Brian McCanns of the world and the baseball news of the world who tell you that there's only one way to play. Now, if you ask me what he should stop doing, he should stop running through the stop sign at third. He should stop running to the wrong base, which he does.
The wrong base.
But what you got here is a player of great gifts, a power hitter with a great arm, and a natural amount of flamboyance, and I would not like to see that stifled.
Showmanship. Baseball needs it.
Baseball
needs it.
Yeah.
All the time we're talking about the things that baseball can do to attract younger viewers who are not already in the tent, patrons, if you will. Tony, part of that is to have something that is magnetic. You can think whatever you want of Puig, but don't you want to watch him?
I do.
He is one of the must-see people in baseball. He's young. He is naturally flamboyant. What would people have said about a young Pete Rose now? Would they have told him to stop diving head first into bases at a time where very few people did that?
Because I think there's a circumstance here that needs to be talked about. I think it was 68 years ago today that Jackie Robinson first played in the Dodger organization. in Brooklyn. Yasiel Puig is on that team of opportunity. That's the franchise that you look at. And to me, his backstory in sneaking out of Cuba the way he did and coming to the United States, I don't know if he speaks English well yet, but I think in time that will come. I just think that he's a glamorous player on one of the most glamorous franchises in baseball. And if you put a cone of silence on his head, this is a mistake.
You get mad at me for saying this. This sounds like an NFL tactic. Don't do anything flamboyant. Don't call attention to yourself. Baseball. And you know this because you follow it was your first love, just like me.
Yeah.
It has had flamboyant people.
Can we get to one show without you crushing the NFL?
I didn't crush them. They're just the no fun league.
All right. It's time for the annual PTI NHL playoff preview. Sadly, we don't have Barry Melrose available to us, or Jeremy Roenick, or Eddie Olczyk, or your good friend, Don Cherry.
Dead or alive?
So
Don Cherry.
Alive.
Okay.
And Canadian.
Okay.
So, Wilbon, I turn to you with this burning question. Who you got?
You see who I got?
Who you got?
I got Patrick Kane back in the lineup about 6 weeks early. How about that? I like that. I don't know how hard or how easy it is to incorporate a great and dominant player into your lineup when you've been missing them for 6 weeks.
Shouldn't be that hard.
But I'm excited about that. I got them.
You got them to win.
It is hard putting them back.
You always have them to win.
Well, let me ask you something.
What?
You got the Rangers and the Islanders,
yeah, I do.
both of whom are in the East, and I happily play against either one of them in the Stanley Cup Finals. Which one you rooting for? And don't tell me you're taking the Capitals over the Islanders, or I'm going to shout you out.
How many questions do you have?
Several.
Okay. I've got something better than you
weren't even
imagine.
paying attention. All you did
I
was
called
call
Barry Melrose. I did investigative report.
Yeah, that's real investigative.
Would you like to know who Barry's got?
Any attention to this? I know who Barry's got because I watch him.
In the East, he's got the Rangers, a New York team, the Broadway Blue Shirts, okay? He's got the Rangers. They got a great goalie. They got big forwards. He says they got the best defensive core in the league. Second, though, he's got the Capitals with Alexander Ovechkin.
And I said to him, he picks the Capitals as I have every year, and what happens every year?
I said
they go out.
Alexander Ovechkin, the #1 goal scorer in the league, the #1 game-winning goal scorer in the league, the #1 power play goal scorer in the league.
Barry Trotz has changed the culture, don't you know?
To Barry Melrose, I said, but he never even gets to the conference finals. So why would I bet on him? He says he's due. I'm just telling you what he said.
He's due.
His outside team in the East is Tampa Bay. Okay? The Tampa Bay Lightning. In the West, I hate to say who he's got.
You know who he's got? He's got them all. He's got the Blackhawks. Of course, he's got the Blackhawks.
He says it's sort of like the St. Louis Cardinals and Michigan State. He says this is their time. They know what they're doing. His second team is St. Louis.
The playoff setup, Tony, where the Blackhawks don't have home ice in the very first round and have to play Nashville. I hate that it's not a straight conference setup like, say, the NBA. But the playoffs, which begin tonight, and you ought to try watching and not just calling Barry.
No, I'm going to watch the Caps tonight against the Islanders.
And you're going to root for who?
The Islanders are, come on, I grew up on Long Island.
All right.
Let's take a break, but coming up, Steph Curry hits 77 straight threes in practice, allegedly.
Kind of bad confidence. And Donald Sterling's girlfriend, your girl, is offered to return millions in gifts on millions. That dog didn't
great.
How can you see her? She got a visor on.
I like the visor. I like the look.
Baseball season is here at last, and the excitement continues all season long at DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitment. Why wait until the end of the season to claim victory when you can win huge cash every day? Hurry to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code PARDON to play for free. You could win part of the $300 million in prizes being awarded this season. Enter PARDON for free entry now at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Something or nothing, and here's how it works. Something, nothing.
Don't get carried away.
What's first? This is you. This is your job.
Something or nothing. It's not my job.
It is.
Steph Curry, 77 consecutive three-pointers in practice. Something or nothing.
I have to say that I don't believe this. He's the best.
You're saying they flat out lied? People under practice?
He's the best shooter in the NBA. He may be, when all is said and done, the best shooter of all time.
I know.
But you go out to 24 feet, and you make 77 in a row. Mike, I couldn't take oranges and drop them in a waste paper basket 77 straight times.
Tony, you see all those people at practice? They're media people at practice. They're folks hanging around with cell phones. You can't lie and make this up.
If it's, I don't know if they counted from one.
Somebody
if it's
counted.
True, it's certainly something.
Yeah,
it's probably nothing in the sense that it was in practice, but I'm hard pressed to believe
it's extraordinary.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to say this because you alluded to this. And for you and me, people who have watched, I mean, for me, and I think for you, Rick Barry and Pete Maravich of my life were the people I thought were the greatest shooters. And you know what? He's better.
Is it something or nothing?
Ray
Allen's a great shooter.
Ray Allen's a great shooter. Steph Curry may be. Not when all is said and done. Right now.
You believe it?
I believe it. The greatest shooter in the history of basketball.
What's next?
Could be. Chris Paul, Blake Griffin had a little spat last night, something or nothing.
Yeah, this happened last night when the Clippers were beating up on the Suns.
Yeah, they have beat up by 30.
They chirped at each other, and at the end of it, Griffin was still screaming, and Paul walked away. To me, the reason this is something is because when you talk to people who follow the Clippers, they will tell you that these two people hate each other, and a lot of the people on the Clippers don't like Chris Paul. So that would make it something. The reason it's nothing, ultimately, is because they've been doing this for years, and they still managed to win close to 60 games. So it's nothing, actually.
It's something. I'm going to tell you why it's something. And I follow the Clippers closely, including, yesterday when I sat and talked about this topic with Chris Paul. Here's what Chris Paul says very candidly. This is what, if you're a leader, everybody can't like you. You got to figure out when to scream at guys and who to scream at and who not to. And you know that's true, particularly in basketball where one guy has to lead them. It's something and it's something good. The Clippers have to have this, Tony, going into these playoffs. The Western Conference is so tough. They got an identifiable leader.
Do other players dislike Chris Paul?
I think they respect him, and he's a hard A.
Do they dislike him?
I don't think so. Tony, I think this is a good thing for the Clippers, a good sign. The hideous Browns new uniforms, something or nothing.
Well, if you call them hideous, it doesn't give me much of a chance, do you?
Well, you could go the other way.
This is something, it is something stupid. These are college uniforms. Do you think that the Dallas Cowboys have to write Dallas across their chest so you know where they're from? This is not what pros do.
They're not college,
when you
they're
look
high
at
school.
The Cleveland uniforms have always been traditional and subdued
Iconic.
and something you can depend on. And if you look at some of these color combinations, they look very Big 12-ish. I don't like this.
They look like some pajamas I would order from Matthew at NBA.com. That's what they look like.
Like Garanimals?
Like everything else Cleveland has done, this specific thing is a joke.
Yeah.
You got iconic uniforms that Jim Brown used to wear, that Bobby Mitchell used to wear. You come up with this garbage.
Do you know that the president of the club says they want to be the Oregon of
That's
the
something
NFL?
to aspire to.
Yeah, because that means you'll never win a championship. You'll never win it.
Tony, this is embarrassing for a team that had
something or nothing.
Great.
I said something stupid.
Nothing.
Okay. What's next?
This is really something or nothing. V. Stiviano's payback. Something or nothing.
She has to pay back $2.6 million to
Ordered
Shelley
to pay
Sterling.
it back.
Yes, ordered by the court. This is nothing to Shelley Sterling because through community property, she has hundreds of millions of dollars. But to V. Stiviano, this is something. I want to tell you why. Because I'm sure that all the cash she got is gone, long gone. So she's going to have to take off her visor. She's going to have to roll up her sleeves, go to Home Depot, and start working. Because that's a lot of money to have to pay back.
You think there's no other billionaires at Billionaire Row at the Staples Center? I know the Lakers are not playing, so that means they all got to gravitate now toward the Clipper game.
So it's nothing.
She's not going to work
for her.
I find myself secretly hoping that a swarm of bees gets under
the visor
and just stings the daylights out of her. I find myself hoping that. This
sounds
this
good,
is
though.
Something to V. Stiviano and nothing to the rest of us.
Did you hear? That's what I said. You know what sounds like it's good, though?
What?
To be Donald Sterling's girlfriend. I mean, there's a lot of money. There's a Bentley in it.
You made that singular.
Bentley.
You made that singular.
Girlfriend, whatever. That's it. We're taking one last break, but still to come, your Wizards move one step closer to changing their name by dumping their silly logo.
Wow, you call the logo silly.
Silly.
And we'll tell you why Justin Verlander had to cut short today's simulated game. That couldn't be good.
You don't want to hear that, do you?
Couldn't be good.
When you've already gotten
rid of... It's not going to be a swarm of bees. It's not going to be.
Fisher is gone and Scherzer is gone. Happy time, people. Happy 33rd birthday, Seth Rogen. Sneaky young, don't you think? I thought Seth Rogen was 40 or so. He's been about 60 movies, it seems. And in every one of them, he eats to excess and gets stoned. Wilbon, what is your favorite Seth Rogen movie?
I think I've only seen one. Knocked Up.
That's good.
Look, here's what I like about him. Here's all I know about him. He hooked up with Katherine Heigl, and he hates Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. That's worth a happy birthday.
Pineapple Express
and a
very
hug.
Funny, too. Happy anniversary, John Havlicek. On this day 50 years ago, with the Celtics leading the Sixers by 1.
It's a real
with 5 seconds remaining in Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Havlicek tipped a Hal Greer inbounds pass to teammate Sam Jones to seal the game. And in the immortal words of Celtics broadcaster Johnny Most,
Athletics on the ball! And they went to Sam Jones.
Yeah,
We love Sam Jones. He's lived here in Washington, D.C. forever, local. Hall of Famer.
Adding trails to the Wizards logo. In preparation, hopefully, for the Wizards to return to their rightful name, the Bullets, the team has dumped their absurd Wizards logo, which nobody in Washington, D.C. ever liked. Now they will have a new logo of the Washington Monument.
Great logo.
That looks like a political campaign button.
That's great.
Well, but my fear is that the owner, Ted Leonsis, will name them the Washington Monuments after his television network.
So you don't like monuments? They can't go back to Bullets. And you know
why?
That dressing room incident a few years ago.
Oh, that?
They were going to go back to Bullets, and now they can't, Tony.
Because of Gilbert?
Yeah.
But this is a good look. That logo.
It's a great logo, and Monument is not a bad name. Here's the thing.
Were they going to be the Mons?
For a local franchise, for a franchise that's been essentially in the one spot geographically for 50 years, to keep changing the name, this will be the third name change. The third name.
Well, the New Orleans has been 87 different things.
Yeah, they have been.
Just one error, it was Wilbon's. To our knowledge, Seth Rogen didn't actually hook up with Katherine Heigl. They were just in a movie together.
In their roles.
Let's go to the big pitch.
What a dopey correction is that?
Freshman point guard Tyus Jones going pro. Is that a good decision?
I don't know, man. He's terrifically talented. He's a scrawny little dude. I mean, he's going to get knocked around, right?
He will.
He's a talent, though.
He will.
The Bruins fired GM Peter Chiarelli 1 minute before the Hernandez sentence to begin. Is that a coincidence?
No, it isn't, because they know that Aaron Hernandez's sentencing will get all the publicity in New England, and they don't want the bad PR of firing a coach if that coach is popular.
It's cheesy, though.
It happens in a lot of cities. Justin Verlander cut short his simulated game today because of shoulder fatigue, not shoulder pain. Is that cause for concern?
Fatigue is preferable to pain, but they're still concerned. You want him to get through the full 60 pitches, and he didn't do that. Agent Mark Steinberg says Tiger's wrist is fine. I bet you're relieved.
Of course it's fine, because Dr. Woods, with a medical miracle, popped the joint right back in. Everything is fine. You see what a Stanford education can do for you?
Yes, sir.
You get a little side course in medical. It's great. Last one. USA versus Mexico, friendly in San Antonio tonight. Who you got?
I don't know, Mexico. It's like a home game, isn't it? They're going to play in San Antonio. I'm talking about the...
That's a home game for us.
I'm talking about who the fans are rooting for in the buildings.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. And I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Second most popular event in San Antonio. Most important tonight. I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Check out the PTI podcast on iTunes.
Tommy Giacomo. Thank you.
When he got food, I get no food time.
ESPN Radio, bringing you directly to the biggest events in sports.
Center field, well hit, puncher back, out of here!
From opening day of baseball,
Throw to the plate, safe at the plate!
Right through the World Series.
For the third time in 5 seasons, the San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
Whether it's LeBron, Chris Paul, or Kevin Durant, when the NBA tips off, ESPN Radio is right there when a champion is crowned.
We have a new world champion. The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
And when the magic of bowl season arrives, ESPN Radio is your home for the new college football playoff.
The college football playoff first national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
The biggest events in sports can be found right here on ESPN Radio.